Welcome again, everybody, and thank you for joining our global webinar day on I have 1,000 devices from this vendor to manage, now what? My name is Dietmar Kneidl, Director of Sales Europe with Infosim, and I will be your moderator for today's event. Joining us from our office in Austin, Texas is my colleague Mike Skripek. Mike is a senior network engineer with Infosim, has been with us for about 1.5 years now. Good morning, Mike. Did you have your coffee yet?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Dietmar.
Excellent. I'm saying good morning to you because it is very early in the morning for you, but safe to say that you are awake and running at 100% capacity. So, excellent. Before I hand over to Mike, I just wanted today's audience to know that all of you are put on mute automatically when you join the webinar, just in order to keep down the background noise. So for us to be able to answer your questions, please type them in the question or the chat window at the bottom of the GoToWebinar application. We will be answering all of your questions either directly in the chat or at the end of today's webinar in our Q&A session. Also, please take note that this event is being recorded, and all of you will be notified via email tomorrow on how to access that recording. Well, that's all from my part so far, so I'd like to go ahead and turn things over to our presenter, Mike Skripek. Mike, you ready to take over?
Yes, I am.
Excellent.
Good morning, everyone. So today, we are going to ask the question and answer it. I have 1,000 devices from this vendor to manage. Now what? That's the question for today. Our agenda is here. Going to talk about our integration. We're going to talk about the Ixia challenge. We're going to talk about commitment to customers and hardware vendors. I'm going to do a demo, which I think is pretty cool. And then we're going to do a Stump the presenter. So you're going to ask me for if we can manage your bizarre device that you have somewhere in your network. So start thinking about what devices you have that you're having a tough time managing, and you'd like to know if we can help you out. All right, let's get started. So our message. StableNet enables network equipment vendors to quickly and inexpensively deliver world-class management functionality for their products. The end customer gets the flexibility to manage different hardware vendors via one standardized interface, and that's StableNet. So in this presentation, let's prove it. So legacy NCCM rarely tolerates custom device discovery and configuration. StableNet not only is open to this concept, we thrive on it. Flexible interfaces with custom integrations, flexible discovery, XML-based, broad API support, servlets, CLI, restful, Tickle, many others. Extensible performance management such as SNMP templates, business process scripts, WMI templates, etc. We provide our customers direct access to our development team according to our 50-50 rule. So 50% of development resources are used to further improve and develop our product based on our roadmap, which means your requests. 50% of those resources are dedicated to customer projects to enable short-term implementation cycles to get you going with your new equipment. So Ixia came to Infosim with the following challenge. Find a way to manage more than 1,000 of our devices via one central interface. At the time Ixia came to us, their devices only supported a Java client-based interface, which was used to configure one device at a time. They had a Tickle API interface for configuration. They had SNMP read, SNMP traps, they had syslog, but they didn't have a CLI, there was no telnet, no SSH, and no SNMP writes. Their feature-rich client was really easy to use. you could build really complex filters on the fly. But doing day-to-day tasks on thousands of these devices was just, it was hard. So our challenge was to create a single way for them to automate all their devices. We met that challenge. Infosim provided a Tickle interface for device configuration. We used their Tickle interface. We came up with a set of standard templates. We extended the auto discovery to automatically set up SLA measurements. We gave the users the power of our feature-rich NCCM solution, which included creating their own templates, managing multiple devices with one single mouse click. We simplified the technical operations and enabled non-Ixia trained users to set up important tasks. Access regulation via our global user and role management. This is part of the core functionality of StableNet. We did not reinvent this for Ixia. For any new vendor or any group of devices, this is already built. What we have to do is technically find the requirements and integrate the product into ours. An example of what we did for Ixia was through Tickle. We created a user interface, a job settings template that would let users upgrade the software, install licenses, reboot the box, which you can't do from their interface, but you can do it through ours. Change admin status, change password. These are the most common tasks that Ixia customers required to do on a day-to-day basis, and they want to do it on a lot of devices all at one time. These are the kind of tasks that if you had to do more than a couple devices, it would be a pain. We continue to create more and more templates based on customer requests and feedback. Just think of scheduling an upgrade of 1,000 devices. You set it to kick off at the beginning of your outage window, and then all you have to do is wait and see if they all upgraded. It's a huge time saver. I couldn't imagine doing each one individually. All these jobs are scheduled. They come out with a report, and you know the result of any task. So looking at what we did, we created these XML templates. And if you look here on the left, there's XML, there's 3 inputs, and then there's an output where the red arrow is pointing. That's the actual Tickle commands that we push out to the annuies. On the right, you can see we have a pretty slick little window where you just enter in John Doe, put his password, and decide whether he's an admin or not. That's all there is to it. The XML, if you look at the formatting, it's pretty easy to create your own. Matter of fact, in this next slide, one of our customers did. He took our template from the last one, edited a few fields, changed the input, reduced it down to 2 inputs, and the one output is to change his 2 NTP servers. This he can push out to 1,000 devices with just a couple mouse clicks using this template, and he's done. You know, just think about a new syslog spun up, or if you had to migrate to an NTP server. Doing that with 1,000 devices, you can do it really quickly. This is a large repetitive task that you can do very quickly with our templates. And as you can see, they're really not that hard to change and modify and create your own. Like we do for any product for StableNet, we import the MIB, get an understanding of what information from the performance standpoint can be gathered from a poll, and then we automatically generate KPI measurements for those statistics. Of course, you can have those statistics in a chart, report, or even on a dashboard. We also can then make thresholds on what we call monitor alerts using thresholds from those statistics. And of course, we work with people ahead of time when we're developing this to make sure we understand what an appropriate threshold would be to set as the default. But at the end of the day, you get an automatic discovery with devices which generate an automatic measurement and an automatic appropriate threshold alert. So the StableNet architecture is three pieces. It's the StableNet server. That's the part that you configure. Then you have a MySQL database running in the background. It could be MySQL, it could be Oracle, depending on what you prefer. And then you have a StableNet agent. The agent is the workhorse. He's the one that connects to the NTOs, doing SNMP, with doing restful, doing tickle to configure. He's also getting all the syslog messages from the NTOs. They're pointed at the agent. Now you can have multiple agents like in this picture here, and the agents are speaking over port 5100. It's all tunneled over 5100. So very easily it goes through a firewall on one port both ways. And each agent speaks to whatever NTOs it's configured to speak to. So you can spread these agents out. You have a rich client running on port 5443, running on your machine to configure the server. You can have a web client running on port 443 to put in the NOC, to put up screens, web shots. You also could connect via CRM, a portal, or a ticketing system. That all connects via XML. So we integrate into just about every product out there. So that's our architecture. It's a pretty simple architecture. It's very scalable. In 2014, Ixia came to us and said they've come out with a new RESTful API interface. We had already done the work on the tickle interface, but they had a new RESTful interface. In a short amount of time, I think about 2 months, we integrated in the RESTful interface into our products, and now we could support their products with RESTful. We do this for all our customers to make sure that we follow their growth. And so they have the new capabilities of their products extended by our product. I'm going to show you here, if you remember back to the tickle we were showing you, it's the same format. It's in XML, but this time it's a RESTful command getting issued. And here we're enabling SNMP on the Ixia devices via RESTful. And here we're creating a new user. This actually pretty much should look just like the earlier one that was done in Tickle. So it's the same three inputs with the one output in RESTful. So the challenge in this case, the users do not have direct access to the boxes. So we developed a specific web portal to simplify the operations of this customer. So the customer has NOC personnel. They're not the design engineers. And they're interested in specific tasks on the annuity. They'd like to create certain filters, but they don't. The company does not want the NOC people to have direct control of the Ixias. So they came to us. We built a portal for them that does this. It simplifies it. It simplifies how much knowledge those users need to have to accomplish their job, and it secures the environment. It's very quick and easy. They do a couple checks, boom, it gets pushed out to the Inuis, and they have the filters they need. They don't need to know what ports. It's already all configured and set up for them for their specific jobs. This is new, and it's really cool.
Okay, Mike, just one quick question, if I may. There was actually a question from our audience that I'd like to forward. So with that web portal we've built, that means the process to change something on those devices doesn't change for the user, even if the actual device now it's not using Tickle anymore, but now REST. So that does not change anything for the user. So the web portal kind of shields them from having to know anything about the back-end process.
Right. They just know that they want traffic going from this device and they want to see it on this device, and they can search for specific IP addresses or layer 4 ports or protocols, and they have a few choices in there. And an Inui has hundreds of choices and offsets, and it's very complex. It just amazes me how complex it can get. This simplifies it. They only need to do a couple different things. They only need to look for a couple different ports, and this is built just for those people, for those engineers. Now, there are engineers that we could build a more complex one for, but this is what their needs were. They wanted to simplify it, and they wanted to not have everybody having to go to the Inuis because of all the firewall rules.
Okay, thank you.
Does that explain it?
Yeah, that answered the question, yes.
Perfect. So I got a live demo to show you, and it's going to take me a second to switch my screens. I want it to be. Okay. So can we
Yeah, we're seeing the right screen. Yes.
Perfect. So this is a lab environment. We don't have thousands of devices, so I can only show you on 4. But it works the same on 1,000 as it does on 4. So these are my Inuis. I am going to go to backups, and I'm just going to show you real quick the user list I have on my Inui. So I've backed up my Inui, and I have a user list, and this is my list. So Dietmar, you don't have an account, do you?
No, I don't. They don't let me in on those devices. They say that we salespeople should not be allowed to do that, and I kind of agree with that.
I'm going to help you out.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. You want to make me an account?
Yeah.
Oh,
all right.
I'm not sure if it's not going to backfire on you.
Typically, yeah, it's okay. Over here on the left, you click on New Job. I already have one created, and it'd be the exact same as if I would click on New Job. I would come up to this window here. And as soon as the bits get over the pond, okay, there we go. I would create a new user. I'm going to add user, put a description in there, add user. I'm going to schedule this, which is the next tab over. And I only want it to run single. I can run it daily, intervals. There's lots of things I can do, but this is just, I want to create Dietmar an account. And I'm going to create it on all my Inuis. Connection settings, this is where I put my user rights in to do this. Now on my device selection, I have 4 Inuis and a StableNet here. So I don't really want to do anything on the StableNet, so I'm going to come down here and put in the word Ixia. So now I know that I'm only going to do Ixia devices. Come down here and check to make sure I got what I want. Yep, I only got 4. I am going to move over to the template. Now this is the template, and in one of the slides I showed you, there's a whole bunch of commands in here that I can run. They're basically XML scripts. Some of them we created, and, well, actually all these we created, but as a customer you can create your own also. So we are going to use create user, and I'm going to create DIETMAR, and I'm going to give you a password of password. That's probably really bad to do. All right, I'm going to make you an admin, and I'm going to click on OK, and we're done. All right, so now I'm going to execute that job. Come down here, quickly start it. All right, it's done already. Okay, done. 4 executions succeeded. On all my annuities, I had success. And then I'm going to come over here, and I have another job called list users. I'm going to run that one. And it was basically the same format as before, but I had an option to list users, and let's start that job. Okay, let's take a look at that. Boom, there we go. And then let's go look at the details of one of those. And I have an admin, test. Where's Dietmar? Dietmar, there he is. There you are. So now you're a user and you have admin rights. Please be careful with what you configure.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if that's the right way to go, giving salespeople access to those devices. But
guess what I'll do right after this webinar? I'll run a delete user and I'll take it out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So one more thing I want to show you. So I'm going to run a quick Ixia backup. Start the job. It's going to back those guys up. It's going to pull during Global Webinar Day. All right, here we go. It's going to run. It takes, there's only 4. If there were thousands, it might take a few minutes, but it takes a minute or so to run. So it says running here. And pretty soon I'll get a pop-up saying it's done. There we go. It's done. So it succeeded. And now let's go look at the backup. So I'm going to look at the backup for this one. Here's my backup during the Global Webinar Day. And here's the backup of my config. I can see my whole config in there. And then I also have this thing called user list. So this shows me the user list, and I can see Dietmar is there. So I am just gathering that Dietmar is in all 4 of these. But I can quickly run a job to do it, which is basically a tickle script. I mean, a restful script to execute that job, to pull that information via restful. And here I can do a backup, and on top of my backup, I can also do user list, but I also can come up with other commands to save other parts of the config in its own separate section. So just about anything I can do with restful, I can back it up, store it, and I can run policy against it. There's all sorts of things I can do with it. So that's my quick demo. It's very cool. Contact me anytime and I'll show you some more. Let me get back to the presentation now.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if you have another, oh yes, you have the summary, I guess.
I do.
Okay, sorry, that was too early with my Q&A entry.
Oh, I'm back already. So, live demo. Oh. So, in summary, we found a perfect way to manage more than 1,000 Ixia devices via one central interface with one mouse click. Well, 2 mouse clicks. StableNet enables network equipment vendors to quickly and inexpensively deliver world-class management functionality to their products. End customers get the flexibility to manage different hardware vendors via one standardized interface.
All right.
Now we're at Stump the Presenter.
Okay, thank you very much so far, Mike. We've had a couple of questions during the webinar, answered that one question about the slides for this webinar publicly, so if you're interested in the slides of this webinar, please just drop us a quick mail and we'll make those available to you. I've picked a question from the audience that I didn't want to couldn't answer during the webinar. So I'm going to throw that one out to you, Mike. The question was, can you integrate with a wireless controller, like, for instance, a Maru or an Aruba or a Ruckus?
Well, that's actually 3 questions, but
That's true.
I think they all work on the same principle. Yes, we can. We do it the same way we do all our devices. We first hit it with SNMP. We'd see what we can get out of SNMP. If that gives you everything you want, then we're done. But usually, especially on wireless controllers, there's other stuff you want that the vendor has not put in the SNMP MIB, has not put all that information in there. So then we switch over and we start doing CLI commands. And in the CLI commands, we can pull stats from the controller, we can pull stats from the APs. Some of the controllers, we can actually connect out to the AP and then pull commands directly from the AP through the controller. So yes, we can integrate with them. That's a great question.
Okay,
And
thank
got
you.
any more?
Yeah, I got one more. And actually, this one touches a topic that is, in discussion around the globe, talking about the Internet of Things. More and more household items, more and more customer premises equipment is obviously connected to the Internet. So I've saved this question because I think it's a fun question. I saved this one for last. And the question is, can you manage my oven? Now, if that doesn't stump you, Mike, I don't know what will.
Well, I guess it depends. If you have an oven that's IP-based, has some sort of interface, sure we can. I know many of the new smart appliances have an app on your phone. So if there's that kind of an interface, we absolutely could support it. I do know that we have a customer in Europe that has commercial ovens that but they have a management tool that manages all these ovens, and then we manage the management tool so we can pull statistics and information from it. But yeah, more and more things are becoming, connected, and there's all sorts of cool thermostats for your house, and they're web enabled. I know I have one. I haven't integrated it yet, but I have one that I can web surf to check the temperature of my house. So if your oven is IP based, absolutely, we could figure out a way to add it.
Okay, that answered this one. And during your answer of that last question, there's another question coming up from one of our audience members, and I'll just read that to you the way it was typed in the chat. So how about virtualizing device commands, meaning how about sending TCP or REST command snippets based on a special device type to keep the process the same? Would that work with StableNet as well?
Yeah, I think so. If I understand the question correctly, yeah, I do think we can send out, information specific to a device type in a snippet.
Okay. All right. Well, that answered that question as well. And so thank you very much. I think we stumped you a little bit, not too much, Mike.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, we couldn't take it all on you because we have another webinar in 6 hours coming up for the Americas region. So, but after that, you're an open target. Okay. Well, just as an additional information, we offer, of course, more detailed web sessions on this or any other StableNet related subject. So if you have more questions, please contact us. We're happy to help. And if you would advance another slide, Mike, please. I think we have our resource slide coming up next. So a short overview of all the resources on numerous topics that are available through the resource section of our website. So if you have the need to inform you, please do that. And find all of these resources available at your fingertips. So thank you very much, Mike, again for the presentation and live demo. And I also wanted to thank everyone for joining our session today. As I've mentioned earlier, a recording of this webinar will be made available to all of you tomorrow via email. And again, keep saying that if you have more questions, feel free to contact Mike, myself, or any other member of the staff with Infosim. We will keep this session open just for a few more minutes in case anyone from our audience decides to type in another challenging question. And by the way, when you're leaving this webinar, you will be presented with a short 4 or 5 questions questionnaire that helps us to improve our webinars, also helps us to pick the right topics for future webinars. So please do us a favor, take a minute and answer those questions. Thank you very much in advance. Okay, Mike, any final words from you? I guess not.
No, thanks for having me, and I'll see you in 6 hours.
See you in 6 hours. So that's all for us today for this webinar. Again, thanks for joining and enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.